Hey there, Justin Chamness, Real Estate Wholesalers Club. We're all about helping you get to that first deal paycheck. That's that shut up money. And we're here today for the Saturday Shut Up Money Show. This is what we do every Saturday, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 10 o'clock in Central. That's where I'm at, Kansas City. But if you're out on the East Coast, you know it's already like 11 o'clock. You've probably done a whole day's worth of work. Thanks for stopping in and joining us. We really look forward to spending a little bit of time with you today. This is a public show we do every week. If you want to join in the Zoom room here, we allow you to do that. You can meet us at www.zoomjustin.com. If it happens to ask you for a password, you know the password is always money. All right, guys, I've got a special treat for us today because there's a gentleman that I was introduced to. He's from San Diego, California. I know we have several other folks in the club from California and even the San Diego area and close by. And so I know you guys can relate. But also, he has an incredible story. It's a little bit similar to mine. Okay, there's some similarities to mine. Talk about a guy that really made it big, at least, big for us, right? And then kind of like being young and making some mistakes and, I screwed up. Yeah, that's my story. I screwed it up. I screwed it up until I lost it all, right? And I was sleeping like in a car. So had to get some character changes, had to take some personal responsibilities, had to have some real talks with God to get where I'm at, right? Okay, so he has a similar story, but he also has some real successes to share with us in real estate and some wonderful tips for us as business owners. Okay, so I want to introduce to you today and let him just have free liberty. Guys, if you also out there in the Zoom room want to interact with us, if it's okay with Pete, you go ahead and let's just kind of make it like we do. If you want to ask something or you want to get involved a little bit, that's okay. But let me introduce to you here Pete Sanchez III from San Diego, California. Hey, welcome, Pete.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Justin. Yeah, I'm excited to be here with you guys and just share a life story and some principles and stuff that I've learned to help you guys. Here to serve you guys and like you said, Justin, we've all been there, rock bottom, and it's kind of nice for when you actually hit those places because you come out of there a lot stronger. And I guess you said the key word is character building. I think a lot of us get stuck, or we don't see the results in our business because we're mentally comfortable where we're at. And it's not until you hit a low point like that where you finally, wake up, or you're like, you look in the mirror and you just say, I'm done with this. Like, what do I gotta change? So not a lot of people have been in that and been able to come back up. And I think those are stories that are worthy to share because this is a grind, man. This business is not easy, and there will be more disappointment than anything, but at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start from the beginning, man. If we can, you bootstrapped a company called Renatus. Is that right? In San Diego?
Renatus. Yeah. It's a nationwide company of real estate investors. This was in 2008. But a little bit prior to that. So I'm originally from a very small border town called Calexico, which is at the very southern eastern.
Let me guess, man. It's somewhere right on the border of California and Mexico.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, Calexico makes sense, right? Literally on. Yeah, I mean, like from my grandma's house, we could see the border fence, and occasionally see some illegal immigrants walking past and stuff. That was just we had a lot of drug tunnels and stuff like that. That was the normal. That was norm.
Wow.
So that's where I came from, and just very very humble beginnings. Both my grandparents migrated legally legally into the U.S. from Mexico and the Philippines. And they all four of them, they worked in the fields, picking lettuce, tomatoes. I mean, you name it. It's intense labor. And at that time, I mean, they didn't have, with the whole like what do you call it, farm workers laws and stuff. They were just treated really poorly. So I was, I saw that from my grandparents. And like anyone in the next generation, right? We want to be able to do, you know, bigger things, and we have bigger goals and dreams. And I appreciate what my grandparents did, because they've instilled in me a hard work ethic, which all of us here are going to need. You cannot be slothful, you cannot be lazy. There'll be times when we're researching stuff at 1 in the morning or whatever. Like, this is, as I said, this is a grind. This is a business. This is not a 9 to 5 job. This could be sometimes 24/7 in a way. So that's how I got started, and eventually moved to San Diego. Thought I was going to be a software engineer, because most of us here on this call, we're taught we got to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, 401k, hopefully you retire at 65 and you'll live some golden years. But in reality, I mean, we're all here on this call because that's a lie. Those are all principles that have worked back in the industrial age, but things have changed, right? Just the economy's changed, the way I mean, the way we communicate. Look at this, we're on a Zoom call now. Like,
it's incredible.
It's incredible, right? The way it's just amazing. So we got to be able to adapt. And so when I came here to San Diego, did the whole software thing, was working for a job, 9 to 5, and it was okay. I didn't know any better. And then a coworker that sat next to me changed my life in so many ways. I saw that he was always reading books, and I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. And what was more interesting is that he was getting paid $8 an hour more for the exact same job that I was doing. And he would take 2-hour lunches, go run on the beach, and the bosses loved him. And I'm like, who is this jerk? Like I'm over here coming in early, leaving late. I'm working hard. Like, why is he making more money than I am? And I started noticing that he's a great communicator. Like, he just knew how to have the bosses love him. And, oh, Eddie, you're this and that. And I started kind of resenting him, because I was like, well, that's not fair. Like, I'm way smarter than this guy. I have my degree. This guy doesn't. Like, why is he making more money? But I could tell that his communication level was on a whole, like, just whole nother level. And I was kind of intrigued by that. I was like, well, here I am, this software guy, kind of shy. I don't really know how to talk to people. Don't really know how to attract the opposite sex, because I just didn't know how to talk to, like, it was just really geeky computer guy, programmer. And I would see that he was reading 2 books all the time. He always had a Bible on his desk, and then he had a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, which a lot of you guys on this call have.
Both good books. I've read both. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this guy's kind of interesting. Like, let me get to know him a little bit better. And he just thought differently. And he gave me those 2 books. He's like, yeah, I want you to have these 2 books, and they'll I hope that you read them, because they will change your life. And they sure have. Started reading the Bible and started getting close to God, and I didn't really understand that, but I just kept pursuing him, and I was like, I want to know more about this. And then I started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was just very captivated by this information. I was like, wow, my family's never really told me about cash flow and investment properties, and the business owners, you pay less in taxes, by setting up like, just all this crazy stuff that I was like,
yeah,
how are they not teaching this in school?
Right.
And I got so excited, and I remember making a mental commitment in my mind, so to speak. It says, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be able to.
Exactly.
I want to be able to control, have control of my time. I don't want somebody telling me how much money I can make. I want to build wealth for my family.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I got it. My first business ventures were network marketing, MLM. Dabbled in that Dabbled in that
Interesting.
for a couple years. Didn't really have too much success, but I learned a lot about sales skills and talking to people, and I think the biggest thing that I got out of that industry was personal development.
Right.
Um,
I bet everybody in this room like has gone from, in some respect, from MLM like as an attempt to start a business to get freedom or something, multi-level marketing, the network marketing stuff, and then moved and discovered real estate and then moved into that. I know I kind of did a little bit too. And what you're saying right now about personal development kind of coming out of that MLM stuff, you're right, man. I mean, they do, or they did. I don't know if they still do, but
yeah,
they,
it's heavy indoctrination
yeah,
of, and it makes sense because in order for your income to grow, you must grow as a person. So
mm-hmm,
there's a direct correlation.
mm-hmm,
A lot of us want to make this type of income, but our personal development is way down here. So we're not going to we're not going to see those $15,000-$30,000 checks or whatever until our mindset and leadership at a certain level, and then the more that we grow, the more our income is just automatically follows it over time. That's what I've kind of understand as a principle of building, being in that prosperity
yeah.
consciousness, so to speak.
I totally
Um,
agree with you. Yeah, kind of goes back to where we started with the character building thing. I mean, um, you have to become better, right? Like Jim Rohn. I'll tie it in like this because Jim Rohn. I was turned on to Jim Rohn. He's a motivational speaker. Of course, he's passed
one
away now, but
one of the best, yeah.
I was turned. Yeah, my favorite all time, and I was turned on to him during an MLM stint in my life. Multi-level.
You're not going to say the work harder on yourself, are you? Because that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
But another one he was talking about is when he said, "Don't wish things were easier. Wish you were better." You know, don't wish for things to be easier. Wish for more skills. Man,
Mm-hmm.
it really hit me. And man, I'm thankful for some of that stuff.
That's yeah. My favorite one from Jim Rohn is, and I had that in the back of my first business card. It says, "Work harder on yourself than you do on your job." And that
Yeah,
process, that statement was huge for me because again, I was coming from a software shy engineer, in which a lot of us have came from that employee mindset. Well, in order to transition into the entrepreneurial world, it's going to take some time to uh, unwire everything that we've learned from our parents, school, society, our friends. Like you got to reprogram yourself, and that's not an overnight thing for most of us. It takes time, uh, a lot of pressure, so to speak, to create the diamond that God has designed you to be, so that you can go out there and walk in your higher purpose, make the type of income that you want. That's going to take some time, guys. And again, I'm 35 years old now, but I started when I was 21. And I really didn't see success till I was like more like in my late 20s, because it took time for me to develop the skills, the mental disciplines, right? Prospecting every day, handling
yeah,
objections, list building, market. I mean, there's so much to building a business,
yeah,
and it takes time. So I want to encourage you guys that for those of you guys who might not be seeing the results that you want, you just got to keep going forward. Like keep reading the books, keep hanging, keep going Zoom calls like this,
hmm,
um, and keep picking up the phone. That's like the biggest thing, is just
yeah,
have that phone attached to your ear, because I mean, I'm in the same place as you guys. I dial every day too. I do 200-300 dials a day myself. I'm in the trenches myself. I have callers calling leads myself. um, I get the same objections you guys get, what everything.
yeah,
I just keep doing what I got to do. A mentor that I've learned from network marketing, um, he said you got to master the mundane. So the mundane is the things that really
yeah.
suck, that
Yes,
really nobody wants to do them,
yes,
like cold calling,
yes,
uh, a list of default people that are in default for 6 hours. That sucks. Like
yeah,
I'd rather be at the park with my kids, but you got to do what you got to do, and that's mastering the mundane consistently over
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna start getting the leads, and then you're like, oh, I got 10 leads. 9 said no, 1 says maybe, cool, let's go visit the property or make an offer. It's mastering the mundanes over and over. And again, that is going to happen when you
Yeah.
build your mindset. So after my network marketing kind of attempt, this is where I was like, hey, I think I should get into real estate, because Robert Kiyosaki talks about real estate all over his book.
Yes, I think that's where I made a transition too when I started reading. I went from MLM type stuff thinking in my mind. I never was successful with it though. But then I got that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that really changed me too. Um, yeah, because it's like you said, it's all about real estate throughout there,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and it's all about that change too, like you're talking about, thinking differently, your confidence level and who you are, and your comfortableness in your own skin,
that's right.
and how that comes out and projects in your life and in your
Mm,
business, and it's not following the traditional conventional way. It's beating your own path, to following your own drummer, but yet at the same time, being a person of character. Man, super book. I bet everybody here's read that though.
yeah, and if you guys haven't read it, highly recommend it. Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It will definitely mess with your head in a good way. uh,
Yes.
so I got into this was 2008. 2008, and the market had crashed around that time. Um, this is where I came across that company called Renatus, because I was looking for, there's so much guru programs, and we're constantly getting Facebook ads, all of us, right, of like the next program and all that. And I'm like, I need somebody to actually hold my hand. Like I want a mentor. That's a principle that I mean, guys, if you want to shortcut your success, invest in mentors. There's a verse um, that I really like in the Bible. It says that in a multitude of counselors, so meaning when we have a lot of counselors around us, it says that our plans will surely succeed. Not that they might succeed, they will succeed.
Yes. I
So
remember that. Yeah.
you got to have a lot of mentors and advisors, and you guys are doing a great job by, following Justin as a mentor, because he's already doing it. So like you want to have a multitude of mentors. So in my life right now, I'd probably say I have about 10, 15 mentors. I have mentors for my marriage. I have mentors for my finances. I have mentors for my relationship with God. I have mentors in my parenting. I have mentors in my business. In my business, it's mentors specifically in prospecting. I have mentors in my mindset, and some of these are free, and some of these I have to pay for. That's just, it's part of it, comes with the territory. But I could tell you right now that if you want to shortcut and the learning curve and the success, don't don't try to figure it on your own. That's one of the biggest mistakes I think a lot of us
Yeah.
do, is we're like, oh, I already know that, or I'll just watch a
Yeah.
YouTube video.
Exactly.
Trust me,
Yeah.
if you have some money, just, get that stimulus check, invest in a mentor. That's
Yeah.
that's already done it, because it just
What
skyrockets everything.
was it, the Apostle Paul in the New Testament that said, "Follow me as I follow Christ"? Was it that? I've heard that someplace. Does that ring a bell with you?
It rings a bell. It rings a bell.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I'd have to Google that, but the principle kind of stands true. You do have to have mentors in lots of areas of your life, people that you imitate and model, and look up to and respect and honor. There's something beautiful about that. Something that really makes your spirit, sparkle and shine when you have that kind of God-given gift of humility too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's another verse that's kind of similar to that, that it says that in a multitude of counselors, it's a like a safety net. So
Hmm.
when you think about that, like a safety net, like you put yourself in a place where you're like, hey, things are going to be fine. Like you're going to get so much counsel that your path will be illuminated a lot clearer than trying to figure it on your own. um, Especially like for what we're doing here with wholesaling and real estate. Like I said, it's so much easier when you just, when you get mentored under somebody, and if you got to pay them, you got to pay
Yeah.
them. If you got to do sweat equity and you got to make phone calls for them, and you might only get 5% of the deal. Do it. That's how I started too. I mean, when I joined Renatus, I was like, I want somebody to hold my hand. So I joined up with these two guys that were already doing short sales at that time. And I was like, okay, this is a no-brainer. I just got to do exactly what they do, say what they say, and I will have the same results, in whatever time period that's going to be. And that's exactly what I did. They said, okay, Pete, short sales is where we're at in this market. This is how you go after them. You're going to either talk to realtors, door knock homeowners, and this is what you're going to say. Cool, perfect. You've already given me a roadmap. I went to go talk to the realtors, went to go door knock houses, and for 8 months I was just like grinding, and I was like, and this is where a lot of people will get disappointed, because it took me about 8 months of 5-6 days of prospecting, like, I don't know, maybe 5-6 hours a day, and no results. And I was just like, but I already knew that. I was like, hey, well, this is not a instant gratification business. Like, it's going to take some time for me to learn how to do this. And every time I was getting better, I would go back to my mentors. I'd be like, hey, this homeowner told me this. I didn't know how to respond. Hey, the realtor told me this objection. How do I respond? And then say, oh, next time say this. Cool. Went back on the streets, did my thing. Finally, someone says, yep, I want to sell my house. Great. Let me introduce you to my mentors. Again, this is why you got to have mentors, guys, especially if you're starting out new. How the best analogy I can explain it is, if you have a spotlight, you want to get the spotlight off of you, like, as soon as possible. You want to leverage someone else. Hey, great, you want to sell your house? I mean, because at that time I was 24 years old. I mean, no one's going to take a 24-year-old kid serious, especially when they're losing their home. Like, think about that. Like, they want to make sure that you're going to get this thing. Hey, I got to introduce you to my mentors. These guys have done X amount of deals. They're experts. And I was always pointing that way, not at me, because when you point at you, a lot of us, that's like the biggest mistake you do, is especially when you're starting out, because a lot of us don't have the track record. We don't really know what to say or do. Homeowners are not going to trust you with the sale of their home, guys. It's just not going to happen.
Good advice.
Yeah.
So point somewhere else. Partner up with somebody. Look for somebody that again, who's a mentor, who's already done it. It's just, hey, if I bring you deals, could you help me with my weaknesses, which is and then, hey, I want 20% of, I don't know, whatever you gotta get creative. But in the beginning, build, help someone else, help a mentor build their business, and they're going to pour into you. And that's exactly what I did. And these guys poured into me. I wasn't making a lot of money at that time, because they're only giving me 10-15% of the deal. But again, I was seeking wisdom. And this is why I love the book of Proverbs, Solomon, wisest man of all. There's a lot of wealth building principles in there. And he says that you want to seek wisdom above everything else, above gold and rubies, because when you obtain wisdom, you're automatically going to get the wealth. That just comes with the territory. But you got to build the wisdom. And the most valuable piece of real estate is not on the ocean. It's 6 inches between this ear and this ear. Well, maybe 5.5 for my head, and 7 inches for some of you guys. Right? But you know what I'm saying? Like the most valuable piece of real estate is going to be from one ear to the other ear. This is what you got to protect, guys. You got to guard. Hold your thoughts captive. Another verse that the Bible says, you got to hold your thoughts captive, because when you're prospecting and you have a really tough, maybe a month, you're like, man, I freaking dialed 1,000 dials this month and I had 0 leads. This is where the lies start coming in. Oh, why did you get into that business? Oh, you're an idiot. Oh, you're not good enough. Maybe you should just go back to a job.
Right.
And then you have your family kind of throw stuff at you too, right? Like, oh, like that's just a pipe dream. You're never gonna make it. Be realistic. It's just all these lies, guys. Like, you gotta hold your thoughts captive, because that's gonna make it or break it for the business. It's not the how-tos of the mechanics of business, because it's very simple what we do, right? We pull a list of data. We call the data. Hey, do you want to sell your house? Yes, no, play the numbers, right? Lock it up, assign it. There's not a lot of mechanics to that. It's the why. And that's where you got to invest in your mindset is not the how to's, but the why not. Why aren't we doing the things that we know we should be doing? And that's where you got to look internally in your development of your character. And again, how we work on that is through books, seminars, podcasts, not being on CNN, constant negative news. That's not gonna
yeah.
that's not gonna help. That's not gonna help. That's not gonna help you out.
I like that. That's so
You know,
true too. You nailed that one. Yeah.
So you gotta protect this right here, man. This is very valuable. And like here in my house, we don't watch TV. You know, we'll watch movies and stuff, but we're listening to podcasts. We're listening to. I mean, I'm kind of crazy. Like I like to listen to cold calls on YouTube. Like that's how sick-minded I am, I guess. Business.
No, that's cool. I do
like
too.
I'd rather.
Yeah.
I want to listen to things that are going to help me in my business, become a better husband. Give me 1 second here. Like I'm always reading. Leaders are readers, guys. So it's becoming a godly husband. Like
Yeah.
I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better father. I want to be a better business owner. You got to read. Like this is, I don't know how many hundreds of books I've read, but if I'm in the car, University on Wheels, you know, I'm not going to be listening to, sometimes I like to, you know, electronic music. I like EDM sometimes, but for the most part, again, I'm listening to, I'm listening to like, you know, how to talk to homeowners. I'm listening to, you know, different wholesalers out there, Brent Daniels, you know, TTP script. I mean, just University on Wheels. Always.
Yes.
Again, it's what are you going to feed your mind that's going to help you make more money and become a better person? And if there's people that are around you that are negative.
I couldn't put a what's in there.
What was that?
Background. Oh, come on.
I'm sorry, man. Sorry. I muted him.
Yeah. So that's, I hope that some of the principles will really help. So
Sure.
You know, getting involved with short sales, doing really well. That first deal that I landed, 8 months of prospecting, you know, finally I get the deal, and my partners and I, we made $50,000 on that wholesale, and that was the one that really like set it all off. I was like, dang, this is insane. Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that is a lot. That's a life-changing amount of money.
Life-changing.
Life-altering. I mean, never the same in any way. Like psychologically, physically, things are different now, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's never the same, man. It's for those of you guys who or maybe are you know, on your first deal. That's the one, guys, that you have to fight for. That's going to be the hardest deal you're ever going to fight for, because it might take you some time. It might take you a year, 2 years to land your first deal. But I'm telling you, once you do that first deal, like Justin said, everything changes. Like your confidence goes up. You're like, yes, let's go do it again. You've already gone through that refinement fire of, oh my God, it took me thousands of dials just to get this one freaking deal. But then you're like, okay, like how can we do this a lot faster now? Or now you have the capital.
Right.
Now you have the capital to be like, hey, maybe out of this 10 grand, I'm going to set aside 3 so that I can pay for a caller to help me out. So now you've moved up to now more of an acquisition manager role. And it's just, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process, guys. So yeah,
it is. And I think a good piece of advice here is don't fall prey. I've done this where I was financially like low, needed a deal, worked real hard to get one. It's been a while, got one, spent all the money. Started over the next day, same spot. You know what I mean? Just a little more comfortable. That's all.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's another kind of mistakes that Justin and I could definitely share with you guys. There's more to just wholesaling houses here, guys. It's understanding how to build a business. you got to have the right corporation set up to mitigate your taxes. You got to have the proper bookkeeping, which I didn't have for many years, and that ended up biting me in the butt, so to speak, because now I'm like, oh shoot, I owe money here in the IRS, or I have to dissolve my
Yeah.
corporation because I wasn't filing out the right paperwork. It's all a learning process too, but if
I've
I could
been
go.
there, man. I've been there. It's like I didn't realize we have so many similarities. Yeah, same thing happened and to me, and I found that the IRS is actually not as difficult to work with as
No,
one might
no.
think, but the state will eat your lunch. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, especially here in California, where it's not really
Yeah.
business friendly. Um, and but it's part of the process too. I mean, like if I didn't go through those mistakes, I wouldn't have learned now where, I have proper bookkeeping, my books are in a row, I have payroll systems where, I pay myself a salary for my corporation to mitigate myself paying self-employment tax. Like those are all pretty amazing stuff that like you got to know as a business owner, or not you're gonna, you'll make all this money, but then you're like, oh shoot, I owe
More
it to the
money, more
IRS.
problems.
That's it. That's right. And there's another. I mean, there's so much principle I can give you, but like the principle of stewardship, or the word stewardship means to manage. You We have to be good managers of our wealth, and that's not going like Justin and I. Yeah, I did the same thing. I was making 30, 40 grand a deal in my 20s. Well, I'm gonna, if you don't have the right discipline in many areas, you're gonna fall, and that's exactly what happened to
Yeah.
me. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier in the call, like I was starting my relationship with God, but it wasn't really solid. I didn't really understand who He was, or I was kind of like, just I go to church once in a while. Well, when you start making that type of money, it corrupts you. It definitely corrupts you if you don't
Yeah.
have the right foundation. And that's what happened to me. I started messing around with women. I was traveling,
Oh boy. Oh.
prostitutes. I thought I was living the high life because I'm like, man, I'm making all this money. I got confidence, sales skills. I got involved with that whole pickup artist community, and I was like, oh well, I want to take
David
advantage of.
D'Angelo and all that. Does that name ring a
Yeah,
bell?
yes. Was it Strauss, Neil Strauss, and those guys? I went
Uh,
I went deep in that, but
yeah.
and it's funny because the book is called The Game, and it really is it's really what it is. It's a game of seducing women,
Yeah.
and that's where I fell really short, man. Because like here I have the money, I'm young, and I'm in San Diego. Like I'm traveling the world. I'm paying for my friends to come travel with me. Like I'm supposedly living the high
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
but my soul really was living in a dark path of like, because my family didn't know what I was doing behind the scenes, the partying and sleeping around and picking up women on the internet and just moving on to the next one, like it's the next wholesale deal, like, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's a pretty bad, and I ended up hitting rock bottom when I picked up this woman on Craigslist on the personals, and I knew she was married, and I was like, I knew I'm not supposed to do this, but it's that lust of the flesh of like, well, this is kind of going to be kind of fun. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And, and that's when I hit rock bottom. I got a hotel and did what I did what I did there with this woman. And I remember just like kind of having that self-realization moment when I was just there, and I was just like, what am I doing with my life?
Right.
Like
Right. How
I've
did I
lost,
get here?
how did
Right.
I get here? I've lost
Yeah.
myself. I'm out of control.
Yeah.
Uh, like I'm gonna end up possibly getting AIDS or HIV here if I keep playing this Russian roulette with my life. And that's when
Or
I got,
worse, maybe you could be walking around the corner and her husband blow you out right there. You know what I mean?
right, right. I
Yeah.
mean, just the craziness of that, and I just remember like, I said, I got to get cleaned up, so to speak, rehab. I was like, okay, and this is where I was like, okay, God, like, this is not the way you designed me to be. Like, this is just not, you know, yes, I'm having a lot of fun, but I still feel empty. I just don't feel complete. Like there's got to be something here more than just the money and the women and traveling and all this. And that's where I decided to really devote my life to understanding who God is. And I joined a program. It was a 1 year program, discipleship program at the church here in San Diego, and it was amazing, man. It changed my life. It was 6 hours a day for a whole year, Monday through Friday, and I basically took off business for that year to really understand my gifts that were given to me and by God, and understanding who He was and what He did for me, and it just really took off all that shame
Yeah.
and the guilt. There was just a lot there, man. There was just a lot that I've carried over the years, of who I thought I was, and then but no, like when I find out my true identity in Him, it's like, dang, like He loves me. I'm a leader. I'm an encourager. I'm a wealth builder. I'm just a positive, uplifting person that's gonna just love on people. Like that's who He designed me to be a servant leader. And after that, it was just after that's been a game changing. Like kind of fast forward to where I'm at now. Like I'm happily married with my wife. It'll be 7 years
That's
in June.
great.
She's a
Great.
realtor. She's a realtor. And she's a freaking beast, man. She's
Man,
like
I heard she's like a superstar realtor.
she's like babe, we have 5 escrows this month. I'm like, dang, like, and she brought that, the
Yeah.
majority of that. I have one of my flips in there, but um for it's really awesome when you have
That's
a
tough.
wife that can bring in
Yeah.
like an extra 30-40K
That's
a month to
that's
the I'm telling you guys, if you're single, you got to find yourself a Proverbs 31 woman. Is called Proverbs 31 woman. It's a woman who loves God, but they're business minded. Man, my wife is like, I'm in awe as I'm driving down the car and she's making calls and she's setting up appointments, or hey babe, we got another one, and I'm just like, dang, like it's so freaking awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then
agree, man.
so
I think a lot of people fail because of this one department. They fail in business. I mean, in other endeavors, because they're just not in a supportive relationship. You know what I mean? It maybe was never really supposed to have been to get. But when you find the right one, it's like heaven on earth.
it
It
really
really
is.
is.
It really is. And we're not perfect. I mean literally like 3 weeks ago, we actually had a separation. My wife, she's like, hey, like we just had a lot of arguments. This whole quarantine thing has been really tough, for my wife and I, because usually we've had the kids out and her and I, we can go to our offices, but we've been together. And man, it's such a this I've been learning a lot about just how to better operate with my wife, because we're both at home and we're both run businesses that intertwine together, and I need to be able to speak to her in a different. I'm not as a business partner, but as a wife. As my
Yeah,
wife that I need to nurture. So that was a
yeah,
good little wake up call for me, because it was just too much tension. And so again, I'm not perfect, and I just, like I said, I like to be vulnerable with people. Like, yeah, we have an awesome marriage, but hey, like any other marriage, we have our ups and downs,
yeah. You're
and
human.
there's, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we're human,
yeah,
and there's a lot of pros to having business, but also you got to understand that if you're going to do business with your spouse, you got to learn how to separate that intimacy
oh
time.
yeah,
That's one of the things I didn't understand, because I
yeah.
was like, wait a minute, but we're with each other 24/7. Like, I love you. And like, no, it's about having the date nights,
Yeah,
the wine, put a candle on, romanticize her. And it's like, and we both lost that, because we're at the dinner table and we're both talking about business, because we both love
yeah,
business, but we need to shut that down and talk about, hey, like, let's talk about the sky, and let's go, like just other
yeah.
stuff about business. So we're learning, we're learning as we're taking counseling classes and stuff to adapt. But
Man, I
so
think
yeah,
that's
so
huge. That's huge. I really believe that everybody, no matter who you see, no matter how successful they look, no matter what kind of car they drive or suits they wear or home they live in, or maybe multiple homes, and maybe they have a big company they own, they have a jet maybe even or something. I mean, they're screwed up in some level, man. I mean,
we've all fallen short. Yeah.
there's some part of their life that's just horribly deficient. And It may be their marriage, or it may be their inability to keep a marriage together, or something like that. And I think, we have a tendency to look at people and judge them, and then look at ourselves like in a lesser way. But it's not really, that's not really what we should be doing, right? I mean, we should actually just be recognizing that, hey, all of us are human, and I need to be balanced and improve in the areas that I need to improve in,
That's right.
regardless of where this other cat may be on that topic.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, no one's perfect, and you know, the faster that you can get to a self-realization point, you you always want to do a daily assessment of where you're at in your marriage, in your finances, with your kids, and really just like really meditate and dwell on that. Like, okay, I know, like, maybe you want to put a scale to it on a 1 to 10. Okay, on a one to 10, how did I do yesterday with my wife? Ooh, I didn't really acknowledge her, or I forgot to say I love her, or
that's
you know
that's
what, I didn't take.
that's dangerous, man.
Yeah, I was like, dang it,
How did I do with my wife? Is that what you said?
yeah, like on a scale of 1 to 10, like did I perform at the level she wants me as a husband, or did I drop the ball because I was so caught up in business? And that's where,
Right.
like, that's where we have to.
Guilty,
Yeah,
man.
right. All of us do.
Because I'm like a one track mind sometimes. Like the horse race when you got blinders on, so I don't get distracted, and sometimes I'm missing the important stuff.
Yeah, happens to all of
Yeah.
us. You're not alone. You're not alone. It happens to all of us here. All of us here, we have the gift of being ambitious, and we want to take on the world. But there's also a lot of responsibility with those gifts, and
Yeah.
there's also a lot where we can get blindsided by that.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like happened to me recently, because we were pushing hard, man. Like, for the last year, we've been pushing hard. Our income is, we had a beach house last year in Mexico. We were living out there remotely, building our business remotely. Like, we were living
Yeah.
the dream. We were living the dream, and but pushing so much, and then you kind of start seeing the marriage kind of like,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
separate, because
Yeah.
we start losing the intimacy, the acknowledgement, and the biggest thing that I've learned out of this was that, at the end of the day, I was valuing my goals above my wife, and
Yeah.
that's where I had to slow down
Yeah.
and be like, well, I don't want to lose my wife. I love my wife. I love my kids. I don't want to have my kids in a broken home. So what is it that I need to
Right.
tweak? Who do I need to become? What do I need to
Yes.
who do I need to what do I need to die to? Because it's not easy, like, especially as men. um Again, we're ambitious and stuff, but our wife, Bible says that our wife is a suitable helper for us, and that it's not wise to be apart. Like, God made her to help us in our weaknesses, and us as men, I don't know why we're just idiots that we don't get that. But like,
Yeah.
because when me and my wife work together, and we're united in one, making decisions together, we're thinking together, our bank accounts, everything's like in sync.
Yeah.
It's like freaking magic, man. I can't explain it to you
Yeah.
guys, but we're just like cranking deals. We're doing the date nights, we're traveling, like, it's
Yeah.
so harmonious.
Yeah.
And as soon
It's
as one
hot.
of yeah
Yeah.
as soon as one of us kind of starts getting a little, our GPS starts, it was just like, whoop, and then you're like, wait a minute, now we're arguing again. We don't want to be around each other. What's
Yeah.
happened? And it's like,
Yeah.
you got to get realigned. So
I
that's probably.
I was gonna say I had a mentor tell me one time, well, more a coach than a mentor, but he said you should do the most, and no matter what the situation is throughout your day, throughout your week, your month, your life, relationships, everything, you should do the most profitable thing that you can do at the moment. And I was like,
mm,
okay, okay. And then he said, but profitable doesn't always mean money. Sometimes
mm,
it's most profitable to spend that date night instead of making more calls or whatever. It's
it's
more
good.
profitable. I mean, and that's about perception, right? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
that's
I
really good.
think we all experience what you're talking about. Really, every last one of us do.
Yeah, especially if you're
huge.
married. If you're married,
Yeah.
you'll know exactly what we're talking about because no one trains us to be a husband. No one trains us to operate in this dynamic. And this is why I said, you got to have mentors and read books but most importantly, you got to walk in humility. And
Yeah.
you said that Justin, like earlier, like the fast.
Yeah.
Um, here's
It's like a
another verse.
God-given gift, I swear. Some people ain't got it, man.
Most people don't have it,
Yeah.
and and you know what? Like you're gonna really shut doors to a lot of your dreams, uh, and a lot of work that God's trying to do in
Yeah.
your heart if you come in with that hardened heart. And we've all been there because I know when I fall short in my marriage or something, and then I do that assessment of my life. I'm like, oh yeah, I let the pride creep in, or my ego, or I started boasting about something. And then when I drop all that and I humble myself, and I'm like, dang, I really fell short in this area. I need to go apologize to my wife, or man, like I've been procrastinating my business. I haven't been making the dials like I used to. Like just, it's a daily assessment of your life. And the more that you can humbly do that, the faster that you'll get to the results that you want to seek. um, because yeah, there's something there, and there's a verse very clear. It says that those who humble themselves will be exalted in high places. So that
Wow.
might,
Yeah.
it what that's going to look like for every individual, I don't know. I mean, one of the exalted place that I've been in is one time I spoke in front of 15,000 people in a business conference.
Wow.
And I was able to share my story, exactly what I shared with you guys. And I
Yeah.
shared about my dark past with the prostitutes and all that. And at the end of it, some guys came up crying to me, and they're like, dude, thank you for sharing that, because I haven't been honoring my wife. I go to strip clubs. She doesn't know about that. And they're bawling. And I'm just encouraged. I give them a hug and I said, dude, don't worry about it, bro. We've all been there. We've all fallen short. Like, now you know what you need to walk into. And that guy now is like married, he's happy, he's got kids. Like, it's so crazy. It's like so crazy
Well,
to
yeah.
see those lives change. But if I didn't walk in that humility, those people's lives wouldn't have been changed in that conference. So again, like, there will be more opportunities for all of us, and as we humble ourselves and understand that we don't know everything.
Yeah.
Even if you've taken courses on wholesaling and you've been doing it for 15 years, there's always something to learn. And don't ever
I
come in
know.
with the mindset, I already know that. uh, oh, I already
Yeah.
done that. Like, no, you got to master your craft. Even though you know how to prospect, keep learning how to prospect,
Yeah.
because you're only going to sharpen your skill set.
You're gonna go do some pastor ministry training coming up here, right? Coming up soon.
Yeah, August. This is kind of where, like, it's interesting how we start off. Well, for me, like, I start off in business, and I thought that was my calling, so to speak, I guess. But then, like, God's like, no, I took you through all those business ventures and experience to learn. So because I have a calling on your life. And in August I started 2-year training in Mexico, about an hour
Wow.
south of where I live. So I'll be
Oh,
going there every
so not
Monday.
that far.
No,
I
no,
I thought, man, Mexico. So he's like gonna pack up. He's got a U-Haul.
no,
He's gonna
no.
he's gonna drive like hours and hours and hours to get there. And but no, you live pretty close to there.
Yeah, so San Diego is another kind of border town, so to speak,
Sure.
to Tijuana. So I'll be crossing every Monday for 2 years. It's a pastoral church planning training. And what I'd like to do with that is, I see myself currently as a pastor for business owners, because of what I've experienced through life, of
Interesting.
the ups and downs. And I don't want business owners to get corrupted by the money. I want you guys to make millions of dollars, but I want you to steward it properly. I want you to
Yeah.
invest it properly. I don't
Yeah.
want you to fall into the same traps of me, like with the women and
Yeah.
all that. Like, I want you to build wealth, sustaining wealth. I want you to have your tax stuff in order. I don't want you to dealing with the IRS like I had to do. So, like, I see
Yeah.
myself as a business pastor, and I want to bring in biblical principles to building a business that's actually going to be a business that's going to change lives, and you know, you're going to be able to drop money into your church or your charities.
Well, yeah.
um, and you want to be, you know, you want to be what's it called, you want to have a heart of giving, like I don't
Yeah.
know if you guys know Dave Ramsey, but there's someone that I follow when it comes to biblical stewardship. Like outside right now, like my car, like I've had my 2003 Nissan Xterra. It has 250,000 miles on it. Like, you know, like I can, with the money that we're gonna make like this month, I can easily buy a car like cash. Here you
Yeah.
go. You know, I
Yeah.
can buy I want a Tesla,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
right now I don't need a Tesla.
Yeah.
Like my Xterra that, you know, sometimes will break down on me and I'll fix it or whatever. Like that's fine for me. Like I don't really care about that stuff.
Yeah.
I've already had the materialistic, and that didn't, and it never satisfied me. Now what I love to do is I like to pour money into the church that we're helping grow
Yeah.
in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, we're buying them a camera, a new camera. We bought them a recent camera, but we want to buy them another camera so they can live stream their service from different
Yeah.
angles, and stuff like that. You know, I want to be able to do more of that.
Do you remember the first time you ever gave away $1,000
the first time, um,
or a significant amount of money? That's what I mean. Like more than just like $20 or something. Like,
oh yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, it was a significant amount of money, and
thousands. I gave away thousands. Yeah.
yeah, and the feeling that you got from that, the experience of it, it was something like you'd never experienced before. Am I right?
That's right. That's right. There's another verse from the Bible that says that the Bible says that God loves a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
Not just giving out of like, oh, here you go, but like it's the heart behind it. Like, oh man, like I'm gonna make $20,000 this month. That's awesome,
Yeah.
because 10% of that or 20% of that, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be able to give 2 grand, 4 grand back into this missionary or this orphanage or whatever. Like you're excited about that. Um,
Yeah.
and and that's gonna help
And
you
where your
guys.
treasure is, there will your heart be also too,
That's
right?
right. That's
Where
right.
you're putting your value, your you know, uh
That's right.
it's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. And it really is a cure against greed. Because as you give money, like your heart starts changing about that. And that's one of the principles that I didn't understand when I was early in my 20s. I wasn't giving money. I was like, I'm gonna go to Cancun with my friends, and you know, I'm gonna drop $10,000 on this vacation. I wasn't thinking about giving money. And then that's what led me into that downward spiral. So as you're giving freely money, um, your heart changes, man. And like I said, you start
Yeah.
caring about, you don't care about the
Yeah.
cars, the
Yeah.
mansions, and you're just like, how can I really make a difference in this world? And there's just a lot of wealth principles about that. Like I feel like you know, I don't want to share prosperity gospel and say that, you know, when you give money, God's going to bless you. But there's definitely a lot of, it says, you know, one of the verses says, what you sow bountifully, you're going to reap bountifully.
Well, sure.
So
Sure.
when you give to the needy, it says, as if you're giving to me, Jesus says.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of biblical principles about giving money that I feel that once God can trust you with it, he's like, okay, this one right here, he's managing the money correctly. He's got his
Yeah.
corporation in place. He's not dealing with the IRS. He's not cheating on his taxes. You know, he's giving money back to my kingdom, so to speak. Like, you know
Yeah.
what? Here you go. Here's another fix and flip. Here's another fix and flip.
Uh,
Or hey, here's another contact.
yeah.
Hey, here's some private money at 5%. You're like, what? You know, like just
Yeah.
stuff like that.
It's great.
My wife and I have seen that over and over in our giving as we faithfully give tithes and offerings. We're just giving it to him. It's already his anyways. And
Yeah.
it's really that humility again that's saying, oh, you know, oh, but this is my money. I worked hard for it. No, like
Right.
you've been entrusted with this
Sure.
wealth
Sure.
and these gifts. What are you going to do with this so that you can go
Yeah.
out there and change lives? Not to go buy yourself a freaking mansion, which is
Right.
not a big problem. If anybody here wants to buy a mansion, that's cool. Like, hey, make sure you invite Justin and I to a barbecue.
Yeah.
Um, but like, there's just more to that. There's more, guys, and I want to encourage you, just be a giver in your time, in your
Yeah.
resources, in your wholesaling skills. Like if you see somebody that wants to learn wholesaling, like invest a little bit of time in that person, like help pay it forward, so to speak.
That's great, man. I appreciate everything you've shared with us today. You kind of what you were just talking about kind of reminds me of something I tell one of my sons in particular. But I tell him, some people handle money differently than other people. Some people have been taught about money and growing up and how to manage their life and their business and all of that, and some people haven't. And some people just have a tendency to be more organized than other people. Have you ever seen somebody pay a cashier with a crumpled up, wadded up ball of cash and just drop it on the counter or stuff it in their sweaty little paw? You know what I mean? Have you ever seen that? And then you see another person that has like real crispy bills and they're all lined up and they're all in monetary order, so the ones and then the fives, then the tens, and the 20s, and then the 50s, and the hundreds, and they're all facing the same way and they're all flipped going the right direction. They're all stuffed in the same pocket in the same wallet that goes in the same pocket. Okay. Uh, yeah. I mean, that's how people are, people are different, but I feel like money has I feel like it's a tool, but I feel like it has an energy too. There's something about this money, and the love of that money is the root of all evil, right? Okay, but money in itself is not inherently evil,
No.
and so I tell this one son of mine in particular, I say, listen, like, money in your life is like having a beautiful woman. And you're interested in that, aren't you? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's like having a beautiful woman in your life. If you don't take care of her,
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
don't, if you don't watch
Value it.
over
If
her,
you don't
if
value
you,
it, yeah.
yeah, if you don't protect it, if you don't put it in the right places and do the right things with it, what will happen? It's gone.
Yep. And that's
Yeah,
that's the parable of the talents, that there was three people that the master gave money to. The first one, he's like, hey, I'm gonna go out to go do some business. I'm gonna entrust you with my wealth to three different people. First one, he got the master's money, and he multiplied it like 10 times fold.
yeah,
The master came back and he's like, what'd you do with my money? Well, I invested it and I earned 10 times. Great. Awesome. You're love it. Second person says, hey, I invested your money. I only made threefold. Okay, cool. Like, you did a good job. And then the third person, he's like, hey, what did you do with my money? He's like, well, I was so scared that I hid it from, and then the master says this. He says, well, he said, he calls them, this is really deep. He says, you wicked,
yeah,
lazy servant.
yeah.
And that parable is about finances. So there is a biblical principle that God wants us to multiply our money. He wants us to become investors. So he wants us to invest in his kingdom, invest back in our business, invest back
Uh,
in books that are going to help us or whatever.
yeah.
It's constantly investing the money. And for a lot of us on this call, we weren't trained that way, right? We were trained that money's the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees.
Right.
We weren't trained to be investors and multiply our money. So our money is, we have it tight. Well, how is God gonna bless that seed if we're not releasing the seed out there? So just again, there's a lot of, that's
Yeah.
why I love talking about being a pastor for business owners, because there's so much wealth principles about finances, but the key word is steward. We gotta be entrusted and manage those gifts properly.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, do you have a website or anything that you're promoting or any?
Yeah. So if you guys want to go to one of my websites, it's called Investor Trainee. I'm gonna type it out in the chat just in case. It's
Yeah, we'll put it in the
Investor.
description to videos if you're
Yeah, check it
watching out
out.
there.
investortraining.com.
InvestorTrainee.com. Yep.
Yep. And then one of the things that I'm really excited about, which is a huge valuable thing that I want to share with you guys, is, so last year, like I mentioned, I was living down in Mexico, Rosarito, and I saw a huge opportunity to start my own call center down there, because I was like, you know what, like, us as wholesalers and investors and real estate people, or just in
Yes,
sales, like,
I
we
wanted to
need
talk about this. I'm glad you
we
brought it
we
up.
we need good callers. So I all the experience that I have, I was like, you know what, I can start my own call center, because I've paid for other call center stuff and they suck. Like, no
Yeah.
offense, no offense to outsourcing stuff, because I'm part Filipino, but Filipino callers, guys, you pick up the phone and it's just not the same thing. Like, the homeowners are like, click.
Right.
So I found a huge opportunity to help a lot of people from the church that we're helping out there. About 2,000 people are being deported every single month in this region. People that have lived in the US
Wow.
for 30, 40 years. They speak great English, great Spanish. So I've been training a lot of these people on the scripts that I use for motivated sellers. And these guys are freaking awesome, man. I mean, they know who President Trump is. They know who the Raiders are, like they can connect with the homeowner on that level that a Filipino or someone from Costa Rica will never be able to touch. So I have that service. If you guys just reach out to me on Facebook,
Yeah.
or just let me know. It's a
What-
straight fee. It's $10 an hour. These guys are trained up in Jordan Belfort's straight line system, Grant Cardone's follow up skills, and then we use the TTP script, which is high level. I'm listening to their calls. I'm tweaking them, and I have callers that work for me, that for my business. I freaking love these guys. And again, they speak so good English and Spanish, and it makes such a big
That's
difference
awesome.
for the conversation ratios.
Yeah. That's awesome. Awesome opportunity. Guys, I hope you caught that. That sounds like that sounds incredible.
Yeah,
It's like you buttered the biscuit right there,
I
man.
don't think anybody has that service, because I know all the top wholesalers and different companies out there. They're all using Filipino, Nicaragua, Costa Rica. No one has tapped into what I have as far as the quality of the call, because we all know that those four seconds, those first 4 seconds, if you don't telegraph that you are sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and a force to be reckoned with. That's something I learned from
Yeah.
Jordan Belfort. Click. I'm not
Yeah.
interested. But our callers,
Yeah.
like we have a very high ratios of, they're actually going to get at least through the middle of the script, at least to get their pitch across, which is huge. It's huge because
Right.
we're in a numbers game here. So
Yeah.
that's what I have to offer. It's an amazing service, and I wanted to test it out for myself before I share it with everyone, because I wanted to make sure that, hey, this is actually going to work, because
Yeah.
I don't want people throwing money in something that's not going to produce the results that I would want, because we've all been there. We've all bought those ads, and we've all try to do different. I only want to work with people that show me that you can actually produce the results, and I want to listen to these calls. And so I have that available, and I
Yeah.
never seen anybody else provide that type of service. So I'm pretty excited to expand that business. So
Yeah.
I'm offering it to you guys.
So can we find more about that at investortrainee.com or?
Yeah, or also
Okay.
send me a private message. Look me up on Facebook. It's Pete Sanchez III on Facebook. Send me
Pete Sanchez the third.
on Facebook. Yes, add me. Send me a private message. We could do like a 20-minute strategy session, and I'll kind of show you the backend system of like my auto dialer. This is how many leads they're generating per hour. I'll give you some actual phone recorded calls so you can listen to the quality. I have all that documented as a case study. So for people because I get it when I've been in your shoes where you're like, dang, like, do I really want to, pay $10 an hour? But it's like, you want to make sure that the money you're investing, you're going to get it back, because
Sure.
you want to see a return on your investment.
Sure.
But
Sure
I think Justin and I can, we'll both agree that the first thing that you want to outsource is your outbound dialing. Here in this call, we should not really be doing outbound dialing. We want to get out of that as fast as possible, because we want to be more of an acquisition role, or just more of the
closer.
Entrepreneur role. Yeah, more of the closer.
Yeah.
Let these other guys just drop leads on your inbox, and like, it puts you in a way better position, and it's a lot funner. But I get it. Hey, we all got to make the phone calls in the beginning. You gotta know how to talk to people. But yeah, so that's a service that I want to share with you guys. So
yeah, thank you for that, man. It sounds incredible. Please go check it out, everybody. investortrainee.com. Okay, I'll put it in the description if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or something like that. We'll throw it in there. Yeah, no problem, man. My pleasure. You've shared with us a lot today. Very, very good stuff. I don't know if anybody in the Zoom room has questions or anything they'd like to unmute their microphone and shout out here. Maybe some of our California people want to say hey, but because San Diego here for Pete, and then we've got several others from California. Man, I love that we've got such a great showing from California. I love all our California people. And anyway, Pete, thank you for being here, man.
Thank you too for the opportunity, guys. So
Yeah, you've really done well for us today, and I wanna thank you. It's been an honor to have you here, and I wish you great success to come in your life, in your marriage, and in your business, and in your ministerial ministry endeavors. Uh, I know really great things are ahead for you, man. You got a great attitude, a very you can see the light in your eyes, man, and that's powerful, dude.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, I've come a long way, and thank God. I thank God for rescuing me out of that pit to where I'm at now. To experience His peace that is beyond understanding. To not be, a couple of years ago in a fetal position of trying to figure out life and like what am I going to do in business, and it really sucks,
Oh
guys.
yeah,
Like, but we've all been there, and it's nice when you hear other stories that you're not the only one that's struggling, that's having to grind and call hundreds and hundreds
sure,
of dials, and you're not getting deals, and you're like, why
sure,
am I not seeing the results? We're all there. We're all there every single day, guys. Like,
exactly.
you got to keep fighting for it. So it's worth it.
Yeah,
It's worth it to who the person you're going to become, because
yeah,
at the end of the day, that's what you're going to be able to pass down. You're changing all these generational traits and curses, so to speak, uh, from our families that we've inherited. Like, we're breaking that cycle. We're breaking the mindset. We're
yeah,
breaking. We're creating now entrepreneurs. You better believe my kids are going to be trained way differently. Like, they're going to be reading Rich Dad Poor Dad at age 7. We're going to play cash flow with them. I'm going to help them start businesses
yeah,
when they're teenagers. Like,
yeah,
they're gonna freaking know about financial literacy
yeah,
on a whole nother level, and they wouldn't have been able to receive that if I didn't break the cycle and says, you know what, I'm gonna go against the norm. My family's not gonna agree. My friends are probably gonna, I'm probably not gonna hang out with my friends anymore because all they want to do is party. But at the end of the day, guys, this is your dream. Don't ever give up on it,
yeah,
and feel free to reach out to Justin and I
yeah,
when in those difficult times when you're like, I'm just not seeing the results. Like, we'll encourage you and lift you up and say,
sure.
just keep dialing, keep dialing, keep dialing. You're gonna
Yeah,
get there. You're gonna get there. So
yeah. You're not alone. There's nothing new under the sun. Everybody, not maybe not everybody's been through what you're going through, but other people have gone through what you're going through, and other people know what you feel, and other people have experienced it, at least something very similar to. And so, don't ever give up, guys. Don't give up. Know that we're all human. We're all working towards something, and surround yourself with some good, encouraging, positive people like Pete, and we're okay too. RealestateWholesalersClub.com. Okay, guys. Hey, I love you. Hey, thank you for watching, everybody. Unless there's any last comments or questions, we'll sign off for today. But then I'll see you next week in the VIP. And if you want to know more about that, check us out at the website. But we'll be doing those daily Q&As, so we answer your questions on a day-to-day basis, because that's when you have problems. Your problems don't wait 2-3 weeks or a month for a coach, do they? No, they don't. So here we go. We try to help you on a daily basis. All right, love you, folks. We'll talk with you soon. Okay.
all right, guys.
All right. Bye bye. Everybody have a good weekend.